Good morning. I've been going around the middle lake here just trying to remove some of the reeds that were growing in front of the fishing platforms. While I've been going around, I noticed there's actually quite a large variety of plants along here. So I thought I'd just quickly go through some of them with you. So the first one is this one here, which people know as a bulrush. Its actual name is reed mace. I'm not quite sure why it's got mixed up, but I'm going to call it a bulrush because everyone else does. And this is actually the flower of the bulrush, so you can see all the pollen coming out there, and that is the seeds starting to form, and then that will go to the brown like that, which is what people recognise as the bulrush. So that's actually the seeds, and then come the autumn that explodes into fluff like that over there, and disperses the seeds all around. Right, let's see what else we've got. Okay, so here we have a large clump of burr reed. So that looks very similar to a lot of the plants that you get around the lake. Quite difficult to identify it until it is in flower, and that's where it gets its name from. So the white on there, that better example there with a fluffy, that is the flower, and then it goes to these spiky balls which are the seeds, and that's the way it spreads. But yeah, I was going to say that's forming quite a nice clump on this corner here. Right, let's go and find something else. So up in the corner we have some of the yellow flag iris. Unfortunately the flowers are just going over on this, but there's two different colours here. So that is the common dark yellow, which is the British native. But we also have a pale yellow one over in the corner here as well, which you don't usually see. So we got this plant here. Now this is one of the few that I don't actually know what it is. I'm assuming it's a type of grass because you've got the single stem coming up with the leaves going off from either side, and it has got a fluffy flower there. Mind you, it's also got a triangular stem to the seed head, to the flower head, so that probably means it's a form of sedge. But yeah, it's another nice one. That's forming quite a nice clump here. So I almost walked past this one, just thinking it was normal grass. So obviously grass flowers there, but you've got the stripy leaves. So I believe this is what they call gardener's garter, which is an aquatic grass. So that doesn't seem to like being too far down into the actual water, but that's growing quite happily in the moist soil on the bank here. So that's looking quite good. So you've got this wonderful mass of flowers here. The bees are going mad in here. So this is a dropwort, so it's got the ferny-like leaves on it. Something in the back of my mind says this is related to the parsnip family. I don't know what you are. You're not a bee, are you? So you've got the wonderful drooping flowers here. Now I can't remember how you pronounce this. I've got carax, something like that in my head. So that forms a nice dense clump at the base there, with the leaves coming up. And then over the summer it will put these long spikes out with the flowers on the end that just droop over the water, which are absolutely wonderful. So again, that's another plant that likes being in boggy soil, doesn't necessarily like being in a pond. So most of this bank all the way along here is actually taken up by this reed. I say reed, I know it as Glyceria. So I believe it's an aquatic grass again. So this does die down for the winter, which is one of the reasons I don't actually like it. So it looks lovely at this time of year. It spreads quite easily and is great for filtration. So if you're trying to stop mucky water from spreading somewhere, it will trap the water, and it is brilliant for that. However, like I say, it does die down over winter, so it can swamp out other plants, so it makes it difficult to grow with other plants. But other than that, it is quite a nice plant. You can get a variegated version as well, and you've got the lovely seed heads on it at the moment as well. Now all the way across the back here, in the back of my mind, again, I think it's called sedge, but then I thought the other plant was called sedge as well, so it might just be a different variety of sedge, or I might be getting that wrong. If I am, I'll correct it at the bottom of the video. But yeah, that spreads quite nicely across there. That spreads with the wind, and because the prevailing wind goes in that direction, it stays at this end of the pond, which is brilliant. Now that's actually the type of reed they use when they're doing thatched roofs. That's what they cut and harvest to do the thatching on the roofs. So yeah. So this is one of the plants that I don't actually know the name of. I've got in my headwater hawthorn, but I haven't seen it flower, so I'm not confident enough to say that. It's similar to a water lily. It is rooted to the lake bed, and the stems come up with the oval leaves floating on the surface. If it flowers, then I'll be able to confirm it, but if not, I'm not quite sure what it is. So yeah, let's carry on. So we've got another clump of reeds here. So there are some bulrushes mixed in there, but there is also a sweet scented rush. So at this time of year you can identify it by its flower, which is that sausage shaped thing coming off the stem. So it comes off the side of the leaf rather than having its own stem, which is quite an unusual thing to do. But that's known as a sweet scented reed. And if you actually damage the leaves, the sap gives off a sweet scent. So that's quite an easy one to identify the rest of the year as well, just by smelling the sap. So here we have the common reed. So it doesn't actually have any leaves as such, it just has the green needle-like stem, and as you can see it has these flowers on it at the moment. So they don't necessarily have to be around a pond to grow, they can grow pretty much anywhere, but they do like to be in moist soil. Okay, so these are the last two that I'm going to do today. So this is the first one, and this is an aquatic mint. So if you rub the leaves, it gives off a mint smell. It also has a purple flower on it later in the summer as well. They spread quite happily across either on the land or in the water as well. So, and the other one, you can see it just about down there, the oval leaves. So there's a bit more around here. So these are marsh marigolds. So they have big buttercup flowers. So the one that's in there is the standard one, and I believe this is a giant version. But yeah, they flower late spring, so they're quite a good one. They're one of the first ones you actually see around the pond out in flower. So yeah, if I was to go around the lake, I'm sure I could find a lot more. But that's all I'm going to do for today, because I've got to get on and clear those reeds from over there so people can actually fish from those platforms. And I shall end this video here. I shall see you later.